Our next speaker needs no introduction. He is Ken Loach. He is the creator, the director of two of my favorite films, The Wind That Shakes the Barley and Land and Freedom. Thank you for doing that. Ken Loach has done so much for all of us, and he's someone who's been a victim of this kind of weaponized anti-Semitism as well. So, you know, he's a successful filmmaker in his own right, and he doesn't need to do this kind of stuff, but he does. He has solidarity with people who need solidarity, and we appreciate him for that. So thank you for coming here tonight, Ken, and here we go.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much. It's worth remembering a little bit the process that brought Jeremy down. When he was first elected, some of us said, well, we've just pushed the door open, just pushed it ajar. Now how can we really open the door and march through and manage to take power? And of course, very quickly, it was clear that the right-wing, the establishment, not the right-wing, the establishment would try to destroy him. Why? Because his program, and that of John McDonnell and those who supported him, although it was simply a move towards the 1945 post-war settlement, it didn't go as far as 1945, but it was a move in that direction. And that meant that the areas in which capital could make money were being circumscribed. They would not be able to make money out of the trains, obviously, or take the subsidies the government gave them. They would not be able to make so much money out of health, because that direction was going to change. They would not be making money out of energy and various other utilities, not making money out of water, and so on. The post office would come back to us. So the power of capital would be circumscribed, so the establishment would not accept that. The establishment would not accept a critical view of NATO, because Britain was seen as a central role, had a central role to play in NATO. If we were skeptical about the NATO agenda and didn't go along with that, that was something the establishment would not take. It would not take what Robin Cook called an ethical foreign policy. Look what happened to that. Respect for international law. Well, that meant condemning Blair's illegal war. It would have meant, as Jeremy John put in the manifesto, declaring the state of Palestine. Couldn't have that. So there were many other reasons apart from the criticism and attempt to reduce the power of Israel that the establishment should attack him. But interestingly, of course, as we know, they chose the right wing of the Labour Party to destroy him. And that says everything we know about the Labour Party. Everything we know. And the Brexit was a difficulty, and who was the architect of the let's have another referendum, but Sir Keir, caused total confusion, and Labour lost votes there. But the one that stuck, as Asa writes, was the anti-Semitism smear. And the Labour right wing were there every night with the collusion of the BBC and ITV, and led by The Guardian. Let's not forget that. Led by The Guardian. When The Guardian blew the whistle, the right wing, that was the signal, the right wing press can ride ahead with every smear, every lie, every dirty, sabotaging, vicious slander and libel against Jeremy. We felt the disgust. It was palpable. It turned our stomachs every day and made us angry. We couldn't get to sleep because we heard Margaret Hodge so often on Newsnight. She was treated like Dame Judy on the way to a ceremony. Fawned on. Night after night. And we know the others. Wes Streeting, always there. And they were the ones used by the media to put in the boot, the smear. I think there were tactical errors, and I'm sure everybody would accept that now. We should have opposed it. They should have been answered frontally, the smears, immediately, with evidence. God, we've had speakers here that could have trounced the opposition. That should have been done. Someone from Jewish Voice for Labour should have been with Jeremy every meeting he went to, every interview he went to, when he was raised. They could have spoken with authority, with clarity, with experience, and demolished the lie. That should have been done. But nevertheless, even if that had happened, it could well be that Jeremy's, as a person, would still have been destroyed. And that, the journalist, and I forget his name, everybody will know him, really good man, principled man, although he's not of the left, called it a political assassination. Indeed. Absolutely. But he called it a political assassination, and so it was. So that is now, I think, very clearly it was that. But to get these facts down, as Asa has done, and Chris Williamson also wrote a book, a very good book of his experience, and our failure to stand with those comrades who were the first ones over the trenches, shot down the early ones. We should have defended those absolutely far better than I'm afraid the leadership did. And good to see Jackie here. And I believe Mark is here as well. Yes. And Ken, absolutely. We share not only our initials, not only our first name, but also our birthday. Anyway, it happened. It happened. And it taught us so much about how the establishment, the deep state, will operate to destroy, personally destroy, people that they see stand against their deeper interests. And it's clear now that Starmer, he's not talking to the electorate. He doesn't care about the electorate. He doesn't care that he breaks every promise that he's ever given. He doesn't care that people turn away from him. It doesn't even matter that he's dull, banal, but ruthless. What matters is that after 13 years, and that's the number that recurs over and over again, after 13 years of Tory rule, you have to have a change of party to prove we're a democracy. And there he is. And the people who can make it happen are the ones, the owners of the press, the controllers of the BBC and ITV, the mass media, even our friends at The Guardian. And as long as Starmer satisfies them, they won't go for him, and he will win. And nothing will change. And we know nothing will change. I was in the Northeast day before yesterday, talking to people in the food banks there. And they are desperate. Desperate. They're just not getting enough food. People are starving. The people in desperate circumstances. People working but starving. He will not touch that. He won't touch that. And that's the price we're going to pay for this assault on Jeremy, the assault on democracy, the assault on hope. The assault on hope. So what do we do? What do we do? I think we've got to come together on the basis of our principles. We know that an election coming is going to be very tough for us for people to agree on who to vote for, because the left is fragmenting, which Starmer and co are relying on. They're relying on us fragmenting, and there were going to be so many different choices. but if we can unite on our principles, and we know it, don't need to spell them out to this group of comrades. We know what they are. We unite on our principles. We fight on those. If we unite across the left, as we did under Jeremy, when Jeremy was leader, he inspired that unity. We have to rediscover that on our principles and on our ideas. Unite under that, and then we'll have what Starmer most fears, which is a significant counter, someone who calls out the viciousness and the refusal to acknowledge the interests of the people. Anyway, well done, Asa. Thanks a lot. Cheers.